The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. If you're new here, we release one new episode every Tuesday. You can listen to it whenever it's convenient for you. Please share this and let us know if you have any topics that you want us to cover going forward. This 15-Point Plan podcast is really, the point of it is to help you learn how to implement habits into your daily life that will help you reduce your stress, improve your mood, your energy, your vitality, your joy. And, we're just talking about different aspects of it on the different episodes. And we have some really great conversations, right, Ryan?
That's right. I really enjoy these conversations, Jacqueline. I take so much from you. Sometimes I feel like it's a personal coaching call for me. And I love when we go places like our business planning event and people come up and they're like, hey, I was listening to your podcast and ... They fill in the blank. It means there's people out there, they share it, you enjoy listening to it, and hopefully it gives you some value in some ways that can impact your life so that you can have more energy and a little bit less stress, right?
Yep. And last episode, we started talking about some goals for 2026, and we got sidetracked in like a really great way. And we ended up talking about Ryan's goal of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And I know that sounds really cool on its own, but if you haven't listened to the episode yet, he's actually not just climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, you guys. He is climbing it over a week, which apparently is normal for people to do. But I found out that they they're camping on the way. So there's no Marriott or Hilton.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it once and then they're doing it again in not a week, but in 24 hours or less. And so that is going to get them a world record. And if you haven't listened to the episode, go back and listen to last week's. It was so good. And we're going to kind of we went on a really awesome tangent, and now we're back. And I guess my main question to start out, Ryan, is you're doing that in March. So what the heck are you doing for the rest of the year? Just twiddling your thumbs?
Isn't it funny? It's it's the dilemma of a high achiever or something. It's yeah, I've got this cool goal, but what's next?
Yeah, we're already
so then what? I'm dude, I haven't even done this thing yet. But so a couple things, Jacqueline, that I want to touch on here. What this has done is made me realize, okay, I am training a lot. I am putting on a lot of miles on the trail. I'm running more. I'm doing all these things. We've talked about marathons with all of our cool guests. And then I started to think about it, what a waste that would be if I went and climbed Kilimanjaro and then just called it good. If I'm going to be putting marathon type miles on the road, why don't I just keep going? So what I did was I decided, and I haven't told you this yet, but I decided I'm going to do the Bellingham Bay Marathon next year, because it's why not just run for a few more months after that, take a little break, and just keep doing what I've been doing. And I just ran 45 miles up and down a dang mountain. Why not just do the Bellingham Bay Marathon, which is a fundraiser for the local soccer organization. Some people that I know do it. We've always sat there with the soccer team. So there you go. The other health goal for the year is to do that marathon, which I think is in September or something. But then it made me think, Jacqueline, and I'm going to go off on a total tangent here for 1 minute, and then I want to know about your goals, maybe 2 minutes.
Okay.
It made me think about the other goals in my life that I think are much harder for me and maybe for our listeners. Because one of the biggest mountains I've ever had to climb is the sobriety mountain. And maybe just not sobriety, but even if it's not fully being sober, it's not abusing substances, which has been a troublesome thing in my past. Not very much over the last years, but in my past in general. And I know we've had other guests that have had issues with substance abuse in the past. And so I wanted to share something because we've talked about these Whoop trackers. And I just wanted to share these things that I found to be very interesting. So I have been tracking my using the Whoop, which tracks everything from sleep to recovery to all these different things since July, right? And as a former reggae DJ, I used to, in all honesty, completely abuse marijuana. And I stopped doing that many, many years ago, but I would still eat an edible every once in a while. And when I started tracking this on my Whoop, I found it fascinating. The last time that I ate an edible or ingested any THC, I got the lowest recovery score. In fact, it was the only time I had ever gotten into the red on recovery. And what I learned from that was I went down this whole rabbit hole of how THC and marijuana impacts your heart.
Okay.
So I want to have a conversation with our listeners very briefly on the impacts of marijuana and THC and that thing that edible that is like, it's just an edible. It really does impact your heart rate variability. It impacts your heart and the rhythms of your heart. And since July, that was the lowest recovery score I had ever gotten for a night was by eating one edible. Now, the only time that I got a lower recovery score, Jacqueline, that was 33% that night. I don't drink very much. I'm not completely sober, but I don't drink very much.
He's talking about alcohol, people. He drinks a lot of water.
Yeah. So the only time that I had a worse score was I got a 10% recovery when I drank 2 margaritas one night. Now, like 2 margaritas is like a lot if you don't drink, but I was just out and like, I wasn't driving, so I do it completely safe and whatever. I drank 2 margaritas and I had a 10% recovery. It completely ruined my sleep. It showed the difference of my heart rate. It showed the difference of my breath. And like that was a huge wake up call to me, seeing those things on a graph and seeing that data. So I've been meaning to share that with the listeners because it really truly does impact your sleep and your heart and your body and everything. We know these things, like we know what a hangover feels like, but to see these graphs and these data really, really impacted me. And I have been meaning to share that with our listeners. So aside from like these goals of movement, a goal for me is to avoid substance abuse. Like it's an ongoing thing in my life and it always has been. And I've been really good with it over the years. But for those people that enjoy a glass of alcohol or maybe some THC or some things in their life, like it really, really is impacting our life and our heart. So just do it responsibly.
I mean, or don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all. Don't do it at all if you want.
Oh, I mean, because you're not talking about like, to me, like 2 margaritas isn't being like irresponsible, and it's still like impacting your recovery immensely. And so that's kind of like where I'm at with it. It's like if it does that to you, I mean, that's fine. I guess you have to weigh like what you're getting out of it with what it's taking from you. But it is taking something. And I think sometimes people think like, oh, it's just a couple drinks, it's harmless. Well, it's actually not harmless, you know? And so that's a whole conversation, but we won't make this an AA, or I guess an NA, AA or NA.
No, what it is like anything that's going to alter your mind and take your mind off of the things that hopefully maybe mindfulness, the point, can help you with a lot of those things. If you spend more time in mindfulness, maybe you don't need to mask all these things, because that's all I was doing over the years was masking these emotions.
You can mask them with other things too. So, you can mask things with overworking, you can mask things with shopping, gambling. I mean, you can mask them with all sorts of things, right? And so that's a whole conversation of like, how are we learning to be more present in our bodies and in our minds and in with our emotions, and not just like bulldozing over things, right? Because they're uncomfortable and it's easier to just not deal with things.
Yeah. It's dealing with things is not easy. Like we all have our things in life, and dealing with them is not easy sometimes. And so that was one of my health goals, is to just make sure that I am dealing with things. It's a learning goal too, is making sure that I'm learning more about myself and why I tend to maybe not want to deal with some things. There might be some listeners that are like, yeah, bro, you need to deal with that.
Well, there's a book that that you reminded me of actually on our last call. 'Cause you said just as something we were wrapping up, you said like, everyone has a mountain to climb, you know?
Yeah.
And it reminded me of the book called The Mountain Is You by I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but Brianna Weist. And it's a book about essentially like inner work and how to turn self-sabotage into discipline and emotional maturity. And I think that's part of why we might rely on numbing ourselves however you do that, right? Like I said, with overworking can be a numbing yourself.
Definitely.
And it's really because of like unhealed parts of ourselves, fears, avoidance. Those are the reasons typically why we're doing those things. Like even if you take the overworking, for example, like we're usually doing that because we are avoiding something or we're afraid of something, you know, maybe afraid of losing it all. Maybe you're overworking because you're avoiding a hard conversation or avoiding the reality that's at home for you. I don't know, right? But we all have this mountain, like you said, but that mountain oftentimes is ourselves and our own mindset and our own um expectations and fears and all that.
Yeah. What are some of your mountains, Jacqueline?
Um, like for 2026 or like that I've had to overcome.
Well, let's start with 2026. Like
Yeah.
what are the health goals that are on your horizon that you're
Well,
excited and maybe a little scared about?
I still haven't 100% like talking about making a decision and committing. I have not 100% committed to doing a marathon next year. I am open to it. Um I am committed to doing my 5K training program that I'm doing right now.
Hmm.
So I am doing that. So I'm on week 3. Tomorrow will be my third run of week 3. And
Sweet.
yeah, so I'm just like, for me, I don't know, I really don't feel like this is me like playing small or like being non-committal. This is me actually learning to be intentional because in the past, yeah, I just like say yes and I'd be like, let's go, like, let's do this, whatever it is. And I'm actually trying to do some of the things I just mentioned, which is I'm trying to be more intentional. I'm committed to being more intentional in my life and actually doing what my nervous system and my body and my like I'm trying to be more present because I did numb myself for most of my life.
Mm,
Um and so I would like to do I think I've arrived at the part where I've decided like I would like to do a marathon. I'd like to do the New York Marathon because I love New York City and that marathon is just really cool. And I think it would be
yeah.
cool to like run through that city.
Yeah.
Um, and the only question is, I don't know if I want to do it next year. And I thought it was because of like, yeah, we're building a house and the money and all that. But then I was talking to our trainers, Jonathan and Shelby Spears. They're here in Camas, Washington, where I live. And they're like, yeah, it's not that you couldn't do it. It's just that like Phil did it and he was having like a lot of issues, with his body because
Mm,
the year before he had like multiple surgeries and he hadn't been working out like he usually would have been and like his ankle had some he had some injuries and things like that. And so I want to be healthy and whole and I want to do it at a pace that like I'm 47 and I probably need to do like I do strength training really regularly. I have not ran and
mm,
I want to do it in a way that is healthy. And so all that to say, I'm open to it still. I have not decided. I have decided that I am going to run a marathon. I just don't know if it's going to be in 2027 or 2028.
right.
If I don't run it in 2027, I will do like a 5K. at the beginning of the year at some point. We're actually doing a 5K with our family for the turkey trot this year before Thanksgiving, just like a fun one. And they give you pumpkin pie at the end. But I'll do a 5K and then I'll do a half marathon next year. And then, I haven't decided the rest. So we'll see. That's one thing. Yeah.
And those are great stepping stones. Like you're working your way up. And I like how you're being intentional with it. To me, it's not like you're just hopping on the bandwagon like, oh, Phil did it or, oh, they did it, so I'm going to go do it. Like you're being more intentional about what you're doing and how you're doing it. A lot of our colleagues have done the 29029. And I think that's a great event to go do. And I think it's a great way to train and a great thing to have on the calendar. And I see just a lot of people like, oh, well, he's doing it, so I'm going to go do it. Like, that's cool. Like get on the team and go do it. But you're just saying, yeah, just because you did it doesn't mean I'm going to go do it. And I think that's admirable to say, you know what, I'm going to do my own goals on my own time. I'm still going to have goals. They're going to be high level goals, but I'm going to do the goals that really speak the most to me.
Yeah. And I have some really big other goals for next year. Like I have had, which it's probably like a whole episode we could talk about this. So maybe coming up I will, but I'm really still processing it right now. And I really, it's going to sound funny because I don't have a small business. Like our team isn't small. We don't, we do, multiple 7-figure revenue. Like this isn't like a little side hustle or anything,
Yeah, right.
And I've realized that I've actually been playing small in some areas of my life and I've kind of been like hiding behind the success that we've had as a team. And it's kind of been keeping me a little stuck because I was scared of going to the next level that I know I'm called to go to. And so I've been processing all of this. And so I do have some really big goals for myself, just not maybe not like world records in mountain climbing, but and I'm excited for 2026. So we'll have to talk more about it because we're out of time for today, but I'll just
You're leaving me hanging, Jacqueline.
I know,
I'm like, I gotta hear this now.
This is like yeah, like I'm becoming a marketer, so I'm leaving you all hanging so that you come back for the next episodes because I think we have some really cool episodes coming up, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening. And Ryan, any final thoughts for today?
I think just a reminder to check all the past episodes. We've been doing this for a couple years now, and we've had some amazing guests that will inspire the heck out of you to go do a marathon or to just get your fitness, nutrition together, or just when time gets as hard as it can possibly be, how to overcome those things. So check all the past episodes of winmakegive.com, as well as our other podcast network, and follow Jacqueline and me on social media if you're so inclined. Send us a message when you listen to this podcast and share it with all your friends, family, and loved ones, taking a little bit more energy and a little bit less stress. That's it for now.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.